Good evening everyone, welcome back to DRS Season 15, and tonight we are coming to you live from the Temple of Speed, also known as Monza. So tonight we have for you a short qualifying session as is standard with our 50% race distance format. So just to give you guys a bit of an update, since last week's round, there was a couple of penalties we need to update you on. Jack Daniels received a 30-second time penalty for failing to follow sporting code, and the offence was starting the ready up countdown early. And also there was a 5-second time penalty to Al Newt for causing a collision. So a quick look into the drivers' standings. I have to be very, very quick with this because I don't know how long we've got until qualifying begins. So the last update we've got on the drivers' standings in overall, Senna is at the top of the standings after Jack Daniels had the win taken away after the readying up penalty. This is the gap between them two, only 2 points at the top of the standings. Then we've got a bit of a gap to Finley in third, 14 points behind Senna. And then everyone, will just go through the rest of the top 10 in the overall. We've got Frosty, Smudgit, Mr. Pickle, Lord Coleman, 50 Gent, DRS Swanson and DRS Syme. We'll go into the team standings real quick. Haas are on top by 16 points from Sauber. Mercedes and Ferrari locked in a draw for third. Alpine in fifth. McLaren 6th, Racing Bull 7th, Aston Martin 8th, Williams 9th, Red Bull in 10th. What messages have we just had there? I've lost me standing things. Into splits now. Extreme and Pro, Centra Finley on top. 51 points scored from the first 2 rounds. Then we got Senna in second on 45, 6 behind. Jack Daniels 8 behind with in third, 43 points. Smudgit in fourth, Frosty 5th, Syme, Swanson, Mr. Pickle and Bluntblade rounding out the rest of that split. And finally, Pro-Am and Amateur, Lord Coleman on top of that one by 7 points from 50 Gent. Michael in third, The Sloth, Easy Life, Al Newt, Sainsy, King Kong, Kessler and Project Ty finishing off those splits. Now I believe we had a message the other day from Project Ty saying they are going to be dropping out as a full-time driver for the rest of the season. However, let me just double check my driving lineups. That leaves a Williams open, I believe. No idea if the seat has been filled as of yet, or if this is... I believe we saw another Williams when I was looking at the driving lineups. And there we are, wet qualifying. This will be an interesting scenario given Monza's high-speed nature. So who's going to be the first to brave the conditions? I think we're going to be waiting a couple seconds just while drivers sort out setups and see if anyone is brave enough to take on the wet. I think looking at it, oh, we can see an Aston Martin mechanic move out, and the Alpine. I do apologise. See a Haas, I think, as well. So let's take a look. Who is coming onto circuit? It's Easy Life. Who's? You can see sign there as well. Right, let's get our usual data up. Oh, an interesting screen there. So we've a few people braving the inters, some people seeing if the full wet is good enough. Which is, you can tell we're in a video game because the full wet would never be used in real life. It seems like the drivers on track at the moment are all, well, apart from Jack Daniels and Smudgate, I think everyone on track is going to use the wets for the time being. Or if they're just going to do a sighting lap on the wets, see how wet the circuit is before committing to a lap. Now I've got to be... And that's a new, well, a name I don't think I've seen before on the grid in Terry's Reds. Looks like they are. Looks like they are subbing in for the King Kong, who is not here tonight. A few other drivers who aren't joining us tonight. I believe Blunt Blade isn't joining us. Bit of a last minute decision, I believe. I noticed Daniel Morris is making his first appearance of the season. I don't think we've seen him. Yeah, I've got a feeling we have not seen Daniel Morris just yet, so nice to see them again. Let's go on board with Simon, who's going to do his first flying lap here. Let me hide the UI there. Into the Variante della Roggia. I just need to remember to get my track corners up, because there's that many chicanes I can't remember all of them. There we go. Yeah, I was right, it was the Della Roggia into Lesmo 2 now, all over the curb on the exit. Now, through, under the bridge, past the old circuit, and into the very... Who's this ahead of us? I believe it could be Easy Life, I think, is the Alpine ahead of us. On the way up to Curva Parabolica now. You can hear that traction control, I believe. I think, well, it sounds like it is at least. Easy Life sets the first fastest lap, but there, Syme immediately beats it by nearly 2 seconds. So let's go to an external view. Now let's see, because Finley now goes even quicker by 1.3 seconds to a 32.0. Now where's Senna in all this? Senna's just coming up to Parabolica as Frosty now takes provisional pole. Let's have a look, how is Senna going to perform in this lap as Jack Daniels sets, goes even quicker on the intermediates. Senna takes, wow, half a second almost out of Jack Daniels' time there. Let me just confirm that. Yeah, no, close to 6/10, but ah well. Anyway, let's take a look. Who is yet to do a lap? Let's take a look at Lord Coleman in the hometown car, the Ferrari. Obviously Ferrari usually considering Monza to be their home round, despite being closer to Imola. And we see Coleman go up to 6th there. And let me just make some adjustments to my little commentary setup here. Because... Ow. I just hit my nail. Right. There we go. Let me just move that. That's better. What I could do, get rid of the spectator menu there. And I will just say now, in the battle between a human kneecap and the little screw clamps on a Monza R3 that put it to a desk, I'd say, well, it's not comfortable putting your knee against a table clamp for a R3 wheel. Anyway, we're going on a sidetrack there. Thought I'd just give you a little story to what you were just hearing there. Now let's have a look. I see a few people looking to possibly try the intermediates after what we saw from Jack Daniels, but obviously Senna now electing to use the inters. I think the track, I can see a very, very light amount of rain, but anyway, let's see what Jack Daniels is doing. I believe this is a fast lap. There he goes, a 30.458. And Smugit follows just behind him into the 30s. As we see a car in the little runoff there, I believe that is 50 Gens, I think that is in the runoff there. Let's see, where what are we going to see from some of these drivers? Simon's already straight back in. I think he's realised the track is nowhere near wet conditions now. While I've been looking away from this, Terry's Reds has put themselves 5th place in the rank in the leaderboard there. As we see them, is that the Lewis Hamilton Roscoe helmet? Now let's take a look. There is Senna coming up to do his 2nd lap of the session, I believe. This is what this will be. This might be an issue because, as you can see there's a few people setting off the yellow flags by getting out of the way of other drivers. I can't see the session timer here, so I think I'm having to go off of like an estimate, I guess. But anyway, you can see Senna on his first lap with the intermediates into the Della Roggia. I'm getting the corners mixed up. And then he calls it Rettifilio. That Rettifilio is the first chicane, actually. As you can see, Senna is approaching some traffic. Shouldn't be an issue there. Yep, the kicks out was all the way to the right hand side of the circuit. Moves over to the other side as the Mercedes behind gets through. Now, I haven't really been looking at how Senna's sectors are looking, but I haven't seen a purple flash out in the corner of my eye, so... Let's see, what time will Senna put in here? As Frosty pushes the border for the provisional pole even further. As Senna even pushes it a little bit more. I was going to say, Frosty's the first driver into the 29s. Senna goes even further, putting it at a 29.2 now. And he's immediately recharging the battery, ready to set up for another run. Finley up to third with a 30.3. Terry's up to fourth now. As we see Smug get on an out lap, he's a bit deep into the first chicane there. Is anybody else on a run? We'll look at 50 Gent here in the other Haas here. Nice little themed helmet I can see inside the car. There's a little red, white and black. Actually, no, it won't be the recharge lights I was on about with Senna. It will be the rain light. I keep forgetting that the light flashes in kind of both situations. Obviously, see him coming up to the parabolica now. What kind of lap are we going to see from 50 Gent? I've noticed at the top there, Sloth and Simon have put themselves into the second row of the grid. As 50 Gent doesn't seem to have improved position-wise. Where is DRS Swanson? He's come through Della Roger there. Into the Lesmos. There's Lesmo 1 completed. How's he gonna do through Lesmo 2? Looking very, very nice and clean there. Well, Ferrari's falling just behind. Oh, you can see a purple sector briefly flash up then for Swanson. He's gonna have to have a lap and a bit to... You need to gain at least 1.2 seconds for provisional pole. As he comes round the parabolica now and into the pit, so maybe let's have a look here. Sainsy up into 7th there is a good run for the Mercedes. And Finley just exiting pits. Yeah, for his final run, we got about 3.5 minutes to go. I'm going to set a timer on my phone here, just because I think we're going to lose the timer a couple times in the next few minutes. So as soon as it ticks somewhere near to 3 minutes, I will set the timer on my phone. Kessler now into the 128.5. What a lap from the Aston Martin driver. And there we go, 3-minute timer is off and running. I hope I can catch it. Sorry, that was a bad one. Anyway, Lord Coleman, again, another driver into the 128 now. And Jax Daniels on 127.3. We can see the track is improving lap after lap, and I don't think that'll be the last major improvement we'll see. I think we're probably going to see a 126 at the least. Let's see, is anybody pushing? We'll look at Finley here, as we now have 2 minutes to go. Nice and clean. It was a... Yep, looking very nice and clean through the first chicane there. Let's keep looking at the leaderboards there. I noticed Mr. Pickle into second here. This could be a very mixed up grid. No, I think if we're looking at the way the track's evolving, I think if someone's got the lap in them and they go at the very last possible second, I think we're going to see some surprises on the grid. So we see Finley here through Ascari, looking very clean. That's probably going to be a good lap from the Mercedes driver. Dan Morris now up to second place at 1:27.4. And we see Senna's down to 8th as it stands. Obviously this will be before he finishes his final flying lap. Finley's going to go 3rd place, 1:27.8. Now let's move back to Senna, who's coming into the Lesmos now. Look at the amount of time that's left on the session. This is a do or die lap for Senna, I think. He's only going to have 30 seconds left, and I don't think he's going to get from Ascari to the start finish into the next 50. Yeah, this will be his final flying lap. He set a purple sector according to the little track map on the bottom there, using all the track on the exit of Ascari. Comes under the bridge on the straight there. Tell my phone to shut off for a second with its little ringtone for setting the timer. There we go, he's through Parabolica now. Where is Senna and Frosty going to put themselves? Senna's going to go into the 1:26.9 as Frosty goes even quicker with the 1:26.4. Now, who else is still setting up? We look at Dan Morris here. He's coming through the Parabolic himself, going from 4th place. He's going to stay 4th. Finley's invalidated. That is it. End of his session. Where is Jax Daniels? He's stuck behind a kick Sauber. I think that'll be the end of his session in terms of gaining time. Swanson up to 5th place now. As Jax Daniels comes across the line. Never mind. By a massive few hundredths, Jax Daniels goes to provisional pole position. Now, any shocks from further down the field? We'll look at Smug Git now, who's coming up into Parabolica. He's currently 18th on the grid. Is he going to make a last-minute improvement? Coming up to the start-finish line. He goes 4th. Now, where's 50 Gent? 50 Gent also coming through Parabolica. 50 Gent's going to say 17th. I believe we're just waiting on Finley to be put into the garage, and then we will have a few minutes to digest that qualifying session. This is an unusual view. I've never seen it go to a third person view, but alright. So after a very chaotic, wet qualifying session, we've only got 25 seconds to run this down, so it'll be quick as possible. Jax Daniels on pole by 0.03 of a second. Senna in 3rd. Oh, I should say Frosty 2nd. Senna 3rd. Smugit 4th. Syme 5th. Dan Morris, DRS Swanson, Finley, Terry's Reds, and Michael finish off the top 10. Al Newt, Pickle, Sloth, Kessler, Coleman, Stainsy, 50 Gent, and Easy Life finish off the grid. Now let me just do a little And it looks like we're going to have a dry race here. Ba, 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 ba. Now, let's have a look at... Let's have a little chat about some real life F1 news just while we're waiting on the go to have the 50% race here at Monza. Also, we saw as of today, it's the 20th today, yeah, 20th of January. Now we saw the the first ever Audi F1 car be announced. To be fair, if that's not the show car and that is the actual car, it does look pretty nice. I'll give them that. We saw the Haas yesterday with that beautiful looking GR on the engine cover. Obviously, we saw the Red Bull and the Racing Bulls last Friday. Oh, that Red Bull is beautiful. Very much a throwback to what they used to have about 10-15 years ago, before it all went to like the matte colours. The Racing Bulls, a bit of a copy and paste, but it still looks quite nice. Oh, and here we go. We've been moved to the grid for the formation lap. Now, let's take a look at what tyres the drivers will be using. Mediums through the field, except for Coleman, Sainsy and Easy Life, who have chosen the hards. And 50 Gens has already been disqualified from the formation lap. Not ideal for the Haas driver there. Now, I've got a feeling we're going to see... We usually see action-packed races here in the DRS F1. But I feel like this is probably going to be one of our most action-packed of the season. Obviously, the big overtaking opportunity down the start-finish straight into the Rettifilio chicane. And as well, the run into Ascari. We've got the Della Roggia chicane as well. That's also a good overtaking opportunity. Yeah, I feel like we've got plenty of opportunities for these drivers to give us a good old show tonight. And just before we start, I'm going to prepare with a good old sip of Tango Apple. And just before we start, make sure some settings are sorted. There we go. And we are back on the grid. Ready for the Italian Grand Prix here at Monza. The first of 2 Italian races this season, if I remember right. I believe that'll be everyone lined up. There we go. The lights are on. There's a bit of a hold, but we're out. They're out and we're away. And it looks like a really good start for Jack Daniels. Managed to hold on to first there. Into the Rettifilio for the first time. So there's a few drivers over the curbs there. Jack Daniels was one of them. There's a bit of contact through the second part of Rettifilio. Everyone looks like they're safely through though. As Frosty manages to get through the chaos unscathed, as Sainsy seems to have had an incident. Oh, and that's Frosty who's gone around at the exit of Della Roggia there. So our kind of whole shot winner, Frosty, having a bit of a spin. Really unlucky. And now Senna and Jack Daniels. I think we've seen this story a few times already, but Senna and Jack Daniels at the front of the field to start this race. Simon, but looks like Simon. Oh, and look like Simon's managed to recover, but he's gone very wide on the exit of Ascari. It looks like though everyone, while there were a few incidents, everyone is safely through the first lap of this race. And now the DRS will be active the next time they come down this straight. And it looks like the pack is still fairly close together despite the incidents. And now the battle has resumed, it seems, between Senna and Jack Daniels. Let's take a we will have a little look through the rest of the field in a bit. But first, let's see how will the kind of battle to start this season, how will it continue? We can see in the... I reckon that's what... You can see 50 Gent defending from Easy Life in the background there. Easy Life is through, but we will keep our attention on the leaders here, as Jack Daniels will have his rear wing open, his finger on the overtake button, as we see Daniel Morris has passed Simon in the background there. Let's take a look through the field. Now I'm not sure if Sainzy's had another incident. He seems to have lost a bit more time to the rest of the field. I've noticed that Michael has made the pit stop early on. And what a view this is from the helicam. We'll move forward to the front of the field here. Let's have a look at Jack Daniels. He's about the same as he was this time last lap, so I don't think we're going to see him move again. Is anybody else brave in the move in the pack? No, really? Let's move just to the leaders once again. As Senna and Jax Daniels absolutely clear of Daniel Morris right now. It's about 2.5 seconds from the rear of Jax Daniels' Alpine. And this is fairly close. I think it's the closest Jax Daniels has been for a while. If you get a good run down the straight here, he could probably be in attack distance as he comes into the Rettifilio next lap. As we see a yellow flag, sector 3, I think it was Frosty again. So, not been the race for the driver who started in second. He seems to be underway again. As Swanson gets a 10-second penalty for corner cutting. Look, I think we missed the actual incident, but I think he just couldn't slow down enough for the Rettifilio chicane. Oh, go on board with Mr. Pickle as they come into Della Roggia. I've noticed Smugit now to 4th. As Mr. Pickle gets a time penalty themselves, this time only a 3-second. As Al News retires, and we are under safety car. So the race has been neutralised. We see Senna and Jax Daniels immediately into pit lane. Is anyone else going to join them? Seems like everyone is. Yeah, but looks like the entire field is making a pit stop here. And everyone except Coleman and Easy Life, and yep, apart from those hard starters, everyone onto the hard tyres. They basically just I've noticed Frosty did make a pit stop earlier where so he's probably won't have as much of a pit advantage, but they've saved themselves the extra time loss. So I think by the time we get going, I think we're going to have about 20 laps to go. No, we'll just be waiting on the two Kick-Saubers at the rear of the field. Both got caught up in first lap incidents, it seems. Now this will be an interesting rest of the race, I think, because we can see there's a few drivers who have the tyre advantage with how they started the race. In terms, you know, some drivers will have hards, which will probably get them to the end easily. Who knows? We may need to see another pit stop. But we'll have drivers who will have a pace advantage with mediums. We see Swanson into the pits again. Onto mediums. Did he put the wrong tyre on the first attempt, or is that... You know, was the intent to clear the penalty, then put his proper tyre on? I don't know. I think I'm going to lean on he put the wrong tyre on the first attempt. So I think we may even have another lap it to go under safety car red, looking at how bunched everyone is. I think we're just going to be waiting on Swanson to get themselves on the back of the field. I mean, I was watching, we'll have a quick chat about that Audi reveal. That was a very interesting reveal, I would say. You know, the first, I don't know, 20 minutes or so was basically just stairs simulator. You know, you're just watching people walk upstairs to get up to the room they were actually doing it in. Don't know why we needed to see it, but I don't know. Maybe there's something in the German way of doing things that, you know, doesn't really translate into my little Welsh brain. Anyway, with that out the way, when I was... I'm quite happy with the Audi, to be fair. It's basically the same as the concept livery they brought out, give just a few sponsors, maybe a few of the tweaks that I'm not really aware of, I don't know. Oh, the actual like concept, the actual main design of it seems to be the same. Although if I had to say one, my favourite so far of the ones we've seen, I think it's got to be between the Red Bull and the Haas. Anyways, we see the safety car in this lap message. That is my kind of... That is my little cue to stop rambling about some random nonsense. I mean, it's pretty easy to ramble when you are commentating on your own, but anyway. You're going to see Senna managing the pace of the field now as they come round Parabolica. We can see Jack Downs getting a bit alongside. I think he's... I'm not sure you're allowed to do that anymore. It's more of a... Oh, it's at least in real life. Anyway, looks like Senna's pulled the pin. He's away. Now, where's Jack's... I don't look like we're going to see a move into turn 1. Looks like, though, everybody's safely through. And hopefully we can get around Curva Grande without an incident as well. I think we will. Oh, as we see some side-by-side action at the Della Roggia there. God, I wish we can get rid of that. Will that go like that? No, never mind. Oh well. Senna. I don't know if Jackson Daniels has made a mistake there, but 1.2 seconds off a restart. That is mental. I noticed there, Kessler is 6th place. It's a good, it's a good performance from the Aston Martin so far. As we see Senna, how has he set the fastest lap of the race? Off a safety car restart. So he locks up into the Rettifilio there. An easy life looks like, oh, someone cut. I think Sandy may have cut the chicane there. It's dropped to the back of the field. Let's move to the midfield there. Look at, oh, there's someone on the inside. I don't know who that was. It looks like it was Sloth. I don't know what's happened. I just caught a little bit of it. Seems to be missing a left hand side end plate, so clearly contact, I think, or I don't know. Anyway, they're back run still in this race. We'll take a look at Finley in the Mercedes here. As Mr. Pickle passes Kessler in the Parabolica there. We can just see them side by side in the background. They're still wheel to wheel. You can see Terry's red. They're still going as Kessler gets through. I didn't think we were going to make the chicane then, but fair play, they've done it. Into Curva Grande. And I can see Terry's reds on the back of him. This is... I don't know if we've seen this driver before. But they've given us a real good performance at the moment. We'll move back up to Finley and Smug Git now. Finley a bit over track limits there. Definitely going to be a warning, at least. As now, what's happening here? Because the two-way battle for the lead is going to be becoming a three-way in a minute. Because Daniel Morris is just holding on to the back of this group. But doesn't seem any of them have anything for Senna at the moment. You know, we can see there he's already well ahead as they come through the chicanes there. So, you know, is Jack Daniels struggling a little with the two chicanes in the first couple of sectors? We'll move down the field there. We see Simon. Oh my days, who's that Ferrari? I think it's Coleman. Absolutely chucking it in there. Everyone managed to get away safely. Oh, we just about caught that. And look at this DRS train that's going to be forming here. And Sainsy seems to have made another pit stop. And we see a yellow flag. I don't know who that was. Possibly Sloth, I think. We'll see Frosty getting past Coleman there. Frosty trying to recover after the incident on the first lap. what we have here, it looks like 6th down to 12, all in one massive DRS train. And it's absolutely frustrating. That was the words I was trying to get out. Especially when you also consider the dirty air these cars give off, as Sloth now gets a 3-second time penalty. I can just see on the minimap the leaders are approaching the first chicane and Jack Daniels wasn't gaining anything. Now that would be pretty interesting if Senna has got the pace to outmatch anybody who has DRS on him. That is impressive. Let's move back to the front to look at this little 3-driver battle. And Jack Daniels seems to be closer, but he's lost all the time again in the Ascari chicane. So I wonder, is it a there's a few more time penalties coming through there. But no, I was just thinking, is this a potential... Ooh, as Michael now retires at Ascari, and we are under safety car once again. Michael has gone off there at Ascari. And as you see, a few drivers, Smug Git, basically everyone but the top 3. Oh, Sainzy gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car conditions. Mr. Pickle gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pits. And yeah, it seems like the rest of the field, all in the pits except the top 3 here in Sainzy, unfortunately caught out by their track position by the time the safety car came out. And oh yeah, it's time for me to take a bit of a, I'd say break, but just a bit of a breather. Now I've noticed there, Frosty is the only driver who decided to stay out in the middle of all this drama with the safety car. Now, unless they've found a bit of a big brain here, that they can come into the pit and come out ahead of Smug Git. That is an interesting strategy. And it looks like, yep, Frosty's coming in again. And the top 3 stay as they were. Let's keep an eye on Frosty in all of this. In the pits now, we see Smug Git just exiting Parabolica. Ooh, it's going to be... I think they're just going to fall to 6th at the lowest, probably. Yep. Now, interestingly there, Daniel Morris and Frosty onto the mediums. Senna, Jax Daniels, Smugit, Finley onto the hards. Given we're going to have about, well, from now, we're going to have Mr. Pickle onto the softs. That's bold, I guess. We're going to have, well, at least 9 or 10 laps to go. I think a medium is, I don't know. Tyre wear can be a bit unpredictable in this game. Medium will give you the pace, but I don't know if it will last 10 laps, knowing this game. We shall see, however. Well, let's monitor the track. Oh, it's Mr. Pickle now onto mediums. I think again is probably a mistake. Putting the softs on. Yeah, we're gonna have at least one more lap here onto safety car from the looks of things. So, just while we wait for the restart, well, give you guys a little bit of acknowledgement. I'll probably tell you all this again at the end of the race, but obviously, thank you all for watching here. You know, it's been a nice community to be a part of in the DRS F1 since I've been commentating here. You know, I've noticed a few drivers have been watching back the streams, giving me a little bit of feedback, so I'd like to give thanks to them. The Sainty now onto the softs as well. Now, I'm hoping that does not prolong the restart. No. Oh, what has happened there? Smug get off the circuit through a braking board. I'm sorry, Mr. Smugit, but you're supposed to use them as your braking reference, not to smash through them. That was a bit random. Anyway, safety car in this lap message has come through there. We'll move to the front again. Now it was a well done, almost perfect restart for Senna the last time by. Are we going to see a similar restart this time? Oh, a Senna! Oh, he's into the wall! No way! Oh, what? Right. I looked away for 2 seconds there. I was looking at the map, seeing where Sainsy was. All of a sudden, I see a Haas in the wall. Wow. What a plot twist. As we're back underway, we're under green flag once again. Did Senna sustain any damage? He has. He's missing an end plate as Dan Morris up his inside. Smug Git goes a bit deep. Dan, there's a bit of contact there. Bentley up to 4th place in the middle of all that. He's going to take 3rd as well from Senna, as Senna's dropping like a stone in water here. Wow, for a race that was going so well for him, it's absolutely gone spoiled wrong here. As you can see him side by side with Frosty, his little championship rival from last season. This league is just... It's one thing after another in this league, I swear. I know sometimes it can feel a bit predictable with Senna and that at the top of the field, but you cannot predict racing at all. And we can see Jax Daniels is... It seems like it was his turn to make the perfect restart, as he's 1.5 seconds clear of Daniel Morris at the top of the standings there. Senna's choosing to brave it through the damage, as we see Kessler and Terry side by side there. Unfortunately, it's come off worse for Kessler, who's been passed by Lord Coleman on the exit of Rettivilio. Anyway, let's move. Actually, we'll keep an eye on Senna real quick. Well, that was... Obviously, we do have a bit of a short championship format. I believe we have 12 rounds. Let me just double check. Yeah, we have 12 rounds here, so these will be crucial points that Senna will be missing out on here, compared to Jax Daniels. But on the other hand, it'll be a good way for Daniel Morris to get his season started. If you've been with us for the first few rounds, you've noticed that Daniel Morris hasn't joined us. This is their first round of the season, and this will be a great way to get their season going. Now, let us see. Kessler's dropped a few positions there. I heard a bit of contact there. I don't know for who. I don't know what happened there. Anyway. Let's move back up towards the top here. Jax Daniels 2 seconds clear now. And Finley's going to be hunting down for a second place finish. He's already had one podium this season, and he's already looking to get his next one. Actually, where did Finley finish last week? Just to remind myself. I do apologise for looking away from the race one moment. Oh, he's 6th. Anyway. Just had to get that cleared up before I said anything. As Frosty now sets the fastest lap of the race, 1:21.3. Let's have a little look through the field. Senna has managed to gain another position from DRS Smudgate, as someone's missed an end plate there. Simon gets a 3-second time penalty for track limit warnings. Just to... As what has happened to Kessler? Kessler seems to have had an incident at Della Roggia there. And we'll move back to this battle for second here. As Smug gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits themselves now. Let's see what can Finley do towards turn 1 here. Got the DRS open. I imagine there's battery full deploy as well, but nothing doing from I've noticed there Senna doing well despite the damage. He's kept all the 5th place there. I think that'll be, you know, despite what happened, I think that'll be just what he needs, just to, you know, take home as much as he can out of this race. We'll look for the field and then look at Swanson here, just so it's not the Jack Daniels and Senna show. I know them two have been impressive drivers. Oh, Finley gets a 3-second time penalty, and as it stands, would demote him to 4th behind Frosty. Oh, absolutely unlucky for the Mercedes driver there. It's Jack Daniels, 120.3. I feel like that's another second. There's a nice move from Swanson there into the Parabolica. However, he's going to put himself under threat as there's the activation of detection point. I need to get my words right before I speak. Anyway. But he's given 50 Gen DRS and he's gone straight back through into turn 1. As we see... Sloth has... Oh, what has happened there? Sloth and 50 Gen make contact. And we are under virtual safety car now. I think we just missed the incident. But looked like Sloth had outbraked themselves. Oh, that was... Let's just run through the field quick. Oh yeah, there's front wing missing on the McLaren there. Oh, that's... I think that's going to be going off to the stewards, that one. Now in all of that, I've just realised Senna has taken 4th place from Frosty. I don't know if that's... But I've noticed the gap is 4 seconds back to Senna. If, when we get going, if this stays as is, I've got a feeling Finley's going to keep hold of his podium despite the penalty. As we are back, green flag racing, Simon gets a drive-through penalty. Oh, Dan Walsh has gone round! At curve, oh, on the exit of the chicane. Oh, that's going to be a dodge. Oh, it's very awkward for the other drivers, but everyone's got through safe. Simon retires in the pit lane, it looks like. Swanson also into the pits. Sloth into the pits too. Frosty sliding all over the place on the exit of the Della Roger. Oh my god, the drama. I have lost track of what has gone on in this race. That is... Well, that has blown this race wide up. Not... I've got a feeling... I don't know, I've got nothing to say. Well, Senna is somehow back into 3rd place. Well, we've seen everything in this race, except the red flag, but I'm going to touch wood, we don't see it, and I don't think we're going to have time to see it either. No, we've seen safety cars, VSCs, people seemingly putting on the wrong tyres at the pit stops, drive-through penalties for speeding under safety car in the pits, track limit penalties, leaders spinning out on restart, just before a restart. First corner melee on the first lap, and I don't even know what else we've seen. That is... I think we've had all the Monza cliches in one race, I think. As Jack Daniels is coming through a scary day. It looks like he's going to lap Sloth in the moment. Swanson back in the pits again. As Senna gets a 3-second time penalty now. So Frosty might even get a penalty after all out of all this. This is... I don't even know anymore. Anyway, as Jack Daniels has started the final lap. I don't know anymore. This is probably one of the most chaotic races I've ever commentated on. And in a way, I kind of don't want it to end, despite knowing it will end in the next minute or so. You can see Jack Daniels coming into the Lesmos for the final time. He's got a Swanson just on his rear end there. I think Swanson was probably aiming for a fastest lap attempt, but looks like he's just mistimed it. In terms of putting himself in a position. Oh, he's all over the curb there. Gets a 3-second time penalty out of it. So I need to keep an eye. We need to keep an eye on the driver in 5th, Frosty there. We will look back at that in a moment as Jack Daniels comes round Parabolica for the final time. Jack Daniels is your winner in Monza. We're going to see Finley come round Parabolica there to take his 2nd podium of the season. We can see Senna there. We can see them all in the group. Senna's going to take 3rd on the road, but Frosty will get it on time by half a second from Terry's Reds. And well, I've absolutely seen everything. Let's move down the field there. I can see a loose bit of carbon fibre there. I don't know whose it is. We'll take a look at Sainsy here. It's not been the ideal race for him. You know, they got caught up on an incident in the first lap, and they've, you know, done well to get back up to 11th despite everything. Then comes Sainsy home in 11th. Mr. Pickle just behind in 12th. I see Kessler's retired somehow. I don't know how. Just says he's now DNF'd and moving down the field. As we can see, Sloth and Swanson finishing off their final lap. I don't know what's going to happen with Kessler's result there. I take it they'll put it back as it was. I'm going to need a very, very brief drink before we go through the results there. There's your race stats. Oh. Well, after a drama-filled Monza Grand Prix, Jack Daniels takes the win by 10.9 seconds from Finley. And we got Frosty finishing off the podium. Terry's Reds and Senna 4th and 5th. Smudgett, Dan Morris, Lord Coleman, Easy Life and Sainsy finishing off the top 10 and the points. Just outside, Mr. Pickle, Mr. DRS Swanson, the Sloth and Kessler, who we don't know what's happened with. In the retirements, Syme, 50 Gen, Michael JFF and Al Newt. Well, I was going to do my own practice, not on stream, but I was going to do some practice for my own league race I've got coming up in a few days, but I think I'm going to need a bit of a rest after that. That was as action-packed as you can get in a 50% league race. So, congratulations to Jack Daniels once again. I'd like to thank everyone for watching, whether you be watching live right now, or you'll be watching us back later. That being said, we'll see you this time, well, same time, 8 PM GMT. We are back Tuesday, January 27th at Spa-Francorchamps for a 100% round. Hopefully you'll join us, whether that be live or again watching back afterwards. If you want to catch us on streams, and it'll be twitch.tv/DJ Dalvasaurus. Yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you all for watching once again, and I will see you all next week at Spa. Good night, everyone.